So Steve, thank you so much for joining. It's Tickets with Tay. This is the third now appearance. We had Lucas, Alexander, and now you featuring up third. Let's
Yeah,
get to know you. Obviously, everyone's spoken to you in the Discord, but never really put
yeah.
a face to the name.
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So my actual name is Steve. I go by Shellbines Tickets. I've had a couple of other Instagram names that I've changed over the course of a few years. I've been in the ticket Discord pretty much since it begun. I think when I joined, there was probably maybe like 6 or 7 people in there that Fav set up. So I like to
Yeah.
think of myself as one of the founding fathers of the ticket Discord, even though our man Fav is our godfather. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, I've been collecting tickets probably the year before COVID, so maybe like 2019. How it come about? I mean, I've collected lots of stuff in the past, like different things like Pokemon, sports cards, graded games, like old PS2 games, PS1
Yeah.
game. And then I was scrolling through Instagram one day, and I can't remember. It was either Jamie. I don't know if you know Jamie Salt.
Yeah.
It was either him or another guy. He used to go by Hershey's Cards, but
Okay,
he's
I've
now
not actually heard of
Mitchell's Cards. And I saw one of them, and I saw it pop up, and it was a Messi debut. It was the infamous Porto game one, the
Yeah.
friendly debut.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, and I was like, "Oh man, that's so cool!" Like I
Yeah.
can't imagine there's many of them. It's the first time I seen it. I was like, I can't imagine there's many of them about. And then that was the first thing that clicked, was like the link to a rookie and a debut and the rarity, and then it actually linking it to that particular moment in the game. And I was like, from that moment, I was hooked. And that was, I think I messaged him and I bought it. I bought that ticket from Mitchell's Cards, and that was the first ticket I bought.
How, if you don't mind me asking, what was that price then, 2019? What was
I
a Messi
think I
Porto?
paid $500 for it then.
Okay, so that's
And
not
then obviously
not too bad.
quite a lot of the time, because tickets weren't really, like at the time, football tickets especially wasn't really a thing. And then COVID hit, and that ticket particularly just went absolutely bonkers.
Did you
I
sell it
picked
at the
up
peak or did you keep it?
I picked up another one. I think I picked it up for £1,000 or
Yeah.
€1,000, and I sold one on Golden for about, I think I got about $7,500 for it at the time.
So you did well.
It was a PSA 4. And I remember the time, Soccer Cards Rock, he's still in a Discord, but he's not very active. This Australian guy had the same one, and he was sending it in at the same time. And they listed it in the same month. And so there was two. So I was like, we were both like, no. We contacted them, and they separated the listings. And so they put Soccer Card Rock into the next month. And then I think he got a similar amount. It might have even just topped mine. But then a few months later, there was like 10, 20 being listed in the same auctions. And they just plummeted. But I kept my original one that I bought. So
yeah, that's worth keeping. What is it then? Is it a full?
It's a full PSA 4.
Yeah. Nice.
So I've kept that one. That's sort of just like sentimental to me now. Absolutely, I know it's not really worth that much money nowadays, but
well, I don't think at $500 you would have lost anything. Even at €500, probably not.
Yeah, and at some point I wouldn't mind. Like, even though I'm in two sides about this ticket, I still wouldn't mind upgrading and getting closer to like a PSA 10 on this. Maybe like a 7 or 8 would be nice to have in the collection.
Yeah, there was there's the PSA 8, I believe, is the highest graded. There was a PSA 8 that sold earlier this year, because I was doing some research on like 2023 sales, and I think it went pretty cheap, like €2,800 or something around that figure, which I think for the highest graded in that sort of ticket isn't a bad pickup.
It's not bad. I saw one on a Soccer Card Facebook forum the other day. It was a PSA 7 full, and he was trying to sell it for £1,500. And I was like, I'll just put in a cheeky offer, because like PSA 7 is not bad, but he lowered to like 1,300. But I just can't do it at that. Like, not at the moment. I don't think
it's a bad pickup. Yeah, it's not a bad pickup, especially if you've not got one. But if you've got one already, I'm sure you can hold back.
Maybe sometime in the future. But yeah, ever since then, I sort of like, I went crazy at the start of COVID. I was buying tickets like eBay. And we were one of the first guys, so you could get like Beckham halfway line goals for like £2.
Yeah.
Like Kung Fu Kick, £2, and then there was like Ronaldo debut, like Man United debuts. I found a guy, he had 20 of them, and I picked them up for £20, a pound each.
You're joking.
Yeah, I
Jesus,
have
these
quite
are
a
the
few.
stories I love hearing because
Yeah,
I wasn't really around then. I joined when you could pick up that for maybe £30
yeah.
because I'd only ever collected my own tickets, and then I realised that there was a market for them. But I always questioned what it would have been like maybe a year before that. So yeah,
It was
hearing the dynamics of the industry then is quite interesting.
it was so good, but you could only sort of at that time pick up like UK based tickets. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember looking for a Ronaldo pro debut, and there was just nothing. There was no Portuguese tickets listed. The same
Mm-hmm.
with Spanish tickets. It was only really like sort of Premiership moments.
Yeah.
And then, like Fav, I know Fav went on a hunt for a pro debut for Ronaldo, and I did too. And it took ages. And then when we got it, we was like, wow, like we're one of the first. I think there was
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 graded at the time. It was like, this ticket's like, it's so rare, it's never going to come up. And now it's like, I don't know, maybe close to 50 of them
Yeah, I
graded.
think it's sitting about 42, 43,
42.
which I still think isn't bad, especially when you compare it to like sports cars. It's really not bad, and
Yeah,
considering the demand for him as a player, I think
it's,
now the perspective on him is like he's rubbish. Messi just
yeah,
won the World Cup, and Ronaldo
yeah,
who? But yeah, I think with time people will appreciate how good of a player he really was, and I do think some of the prices we're seeing now is just a blip.
yeah. No, unbelievable. And I think one of the questions you sent me over was like, what ticket would you say would be like a good entry ticket? And I
Uh-huh.
had that ticket in mind because, like you say, like 42 is not a particularly high number. And we're talking about a player here that's broken all kinds of records. And it's just that last bit of his career has kind of tarnished him a little bit. But I think in 10, 20 years' time, when he's gone, people will look
Absolutely.
back at him and truly appreciate like how good he was and his achievements. And people think now like, oh, he's just a striker. He just gets goals. But up until he was like 30, he was like a winger, like taking on
Flary
people.
player, skillful. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was unbelievable, and I would say like if you can pick that ticket up for under 1K, I think I'd say that's pretty safe investment for the
Another
future.
one of my little checks was I think a PSA one sold for £950. I'm pretty sure, or
Right?
dollars, dollars,
Yeah,
dollars, dollars, dollars. So again,
yeah.
not too expensive for a pro debut.
No,
I think
that,
it's a no-brainer in my head. But you say that's
yeah.
an entry into the market of a Ronaldo pro debut.
Is
There's the
that
old Messi pro debut that we'll get into in a bit. But
I
what is the
this
story behind that? Because I
the
think I remember reading that it was from another English guy. Tell us the
yes.
story about it.
So this is it. I've got all. So I went on a hunt. Basically, I narrowed down my collection. I went on a hunt for all of Ronaldo. So I'm a Ronaldo and Messi fanboy.
Yeah.
Basically, I went on a hunt for all of Messi's debuts and all of Ronaldo's debuts. So
Hmm.
I've got here the big one, the
Jesus Christ.
Messi pro debut. So the story behind this one, it was still pretty early days in the Discord. I think probably maybe a year in, and we were all talking about this white horse like it's never come up, and then suddenly
Had
it
one
just
never
come up.
surfaced at that time?
No, this was the first one that
Jesus.
surfaced. I think I was the first one to get it graded. It come up on eBay, and it was like an auction starting at 99p, and it was everyone in the Discord was going crazy, and I was just like, I think it's is it Sergio Long on tickets in the Discord?
Yeah,
He
Sergio.
refers to me as the aggressive ticket collector because at the time I just put a message on the Discord. I was like, I don't care what you guys do, I'm getting this ticket.
Yeah.
And I think we've all done it before, like where we've messaged
Oh,
the
absolutely.
like, what would you take for it now to take it down? Blah blah blah. A bit of back and forth, and we settled on £1,000 in the end. So I got that for 1,000.
Jesus
But
Christ.
the story goes was that he was selling it for his brother-in-law. He was a Brummie, so he's from Birmingham, and he
Yeah.
emigrated to Spain, and then he started following Espanyol and
Hmm.
had a season ticket for like 10, 15 years. But he had this particular game, and he literally just folded it in half and put it in an envelope and shut it away for like 10 years.
Jesus.
So it's I think these tickets they fade so easily. So it's faded, but I mean it's in a
It
mint
looks better
condition.
than I've seen it on scans, though. If I'm looking at it now, it looks pretty clear.
Yeah, and
And that
it's got
type of ticket, a lot of the other text is bolded. So some of the other pro debuts I've seen, the whole thing's not bolded. So to
whole
see
thing,
yours like that
yeah.
is pretty good shape.
And it's a full. There's no rips. There's one crease down the middle which you can't really see. But I mean, I think this particular style of ticket, I don't think you're going to get one better in terms of condition than that. Even
Not
though
for
it's
the
PSA.
original one. Obviously, there's the PSA 6
Yeah.
Ticketmaster equivalent.
So like these ones.
Yeah, exactly. Along
So
those lines.
that's Messi's first pro goal.
Yep.
That one. So I've got a stub. I think Lucas has got.
He's got the full in PSA 6.
Full in the Ticketmaster version, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah,
But those VIPs have just surfaced now as well. Did you have one of them?
Yeah, I've got one of them at PSA being graded at the moment.
Got you. Because what's his name? One of the other guys in the Discord graded one. I think it came
Anubis.
back. Was it a 4 or 5?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw
5.
it was on eBay. I think it's like a 5. I've got the exact same ticket. So it's being graded at the moment. Because I'm waiting on a return sub. But
what's the prediction on that?
I'll be disappointed if it's not anything above a 6, to be honest, because it was.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I couldn't see any faults in it, but you never know. PSA probably come back a 3. It's ridiculous.
But both of those are incredibly rare first and foremost, and then just incredibly significant within his career.
But yeah, these two are probably these two are probably my best 2 tickets. I've got this one pretty he's Champions League and first career starts pretty much trash now because the amount that's come out of Ukraine.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because it wasn't his actual first full debut as well, so it has significance.
It's such a shame, and obviously his record in the Champions League as well makes it significant. But that's a stub, and it's not a proof, so it's got the seat numbers on it, which is.
I don't think fulls exist with the seat numbers. I've never seen a full. No, so maybe it's mislabeling or potentially I'm wrong, but I've never seen a full with seat numbers.
Yeah, and then back to that one, the Porto, and then I had 2 of these.
International debut.
Yeah, so this is his international debut. That's a full 6. I think there's one higher. I think there's a 7.
There is definitely a 7. I'm not sure about an 8.
Not sure about an 8. So I had 2 of them. I sold one on Golden, and I got I think just over $5,000.
$7,000.
$5,000, I think it was, and I was absolutely gutted with that sale because I thought it was going to hit over 10, and this was during the boom as well. So to think that ticket sold for less than my Porto one, I was devastated. Yeah, so it's real hit and miss.
In hindsight, though, I don't think it's a bad sale at all. I don't think.
No, like if you think about it now, it's a good sale, but at the time because everything was going crazy, it was just I was disappointed. And then his PSG debut.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? How would that rank relative to other tickets?
I would probably say that's last on the list of debuts in terms of because he didn't have a great record, did he?
Not really. And it was a worry as well that it would completely hinder his career. But I think going to America was definitely the right move.
Yeah, so I've got his Inter Miami debut where he scored a last-minute free kick. I've got that in a pass. I don't know if you saw that shared on Boogus.
I did. Is it the pink one?
Yeah, pink, and it's got the lanyard on it. So
BGS.
But that's it. Yeah, so that completes his debut. So I just had to have it. I think that's probably more significant than the PSG one because I think going there, scoring a last-minute free kick on his debut, it's just like a fairy tale, really, for him, wasn't it?
And obviously, the collectibles in America are nuts. The people are willing to pay far more than they are here. I'm not sure if you saw. I did a short video talking about like how football is underrated, and there's like 3.5 billion fans for football, and basketball is only 400 million. So nearly a 10x, but the price is a 10x more for basketball cards or tickets. So yeah,
and that's probably how I feel like about the American market. It's probably like 90 to 95% of collectors are like based in America.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's all like and for football tickets or soccer tickets, like if I'm bidding on a soccer ticket and I lose it, 9 times out of 10 it's someone in the Discord that's won it.
Definitely, 100. Almost, I don't think there's ever been a case where it's not. It will always pop off in like a hashtag collection, my collection or whatever. It will always show up there, whether it's in a month or a year.
I just think so that you're probably looking at that's how big the soccer ticket collecting market is in the UK is probably contained
350
mostly to
people.
our Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what else can I show you? I've sort of got like a pile of Messi tickets that's sort of like nice to have, but not sort of like amazing. So this was when he become Argentina's all-time leading scorer. This one's quite a nice ticket. He scored 5 goals in a Champions League game
I do
against
remember this.
Bayer
What year
Leverkusen.
was that?
That was 2012, and
Okay.
I don't know if he done it recently, but I think that was the only time that he scored 5 goals in a career game.
Wow. Okay. The whole
This one,
significance there.
Messi. He's first started the new camp, but it was in the John Gamper Trophy.
Okay.
And people refer to this game as sort of like a bit like the Ronaldo audition game. So this was when
Okay.
he really like burst onto the scene and showed
Can
everyone
I
his
see the front
ability.
of that?
Yeah, is he there?
Oh, okay. No. Okay. Cool.
I think Stu Iconic Tickets has got one of these. And there's a story that Fabio Capello was the Juventus manager, and after the game, he asked Frank Rijkaard if he could take Messi on loan because he was that good, and he said
Yeah.
no. And then,
What year was that one?
that was 2005, so that was pretty much the season, well, his breakthrough season, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah,
2005,
season 2. Yeah.
season
Second
two.
season.
Messi versus Ronaldo, first
First
matchup,
match.
iconic.
I think that is one of the most underrated tickets. I really do.
They're always horrible condition. I've got 2 more of these being graded, and they're
Yeah.
always horrible condition.
Ripped at the end, I bet.
Ripped on the ends,
And folded in 5 ways.
folded. Yeah.
I've
Sometimes.
always struggled to find a mint full. I've never found
Yeah,
one.
that's on the list to upgrade that ticket at some point. He's Messi's Olympic gold.
Yep.
That's quite a nice
What
ticket.
are your thoughts on that?
It's a nice ticket. I can't see it ever going much more than a few $100s. But like, I mean, for the collection, I think it rounds it off quite nicely. This one, I think, is so undervalued. So this is the 2005 FIFA Youth World Cup.
Yeah.
So he won it with Argentina youth team, and he was named the best player in the tournament. So we're talking about a rookie Messi winning his first international trophy with the Argentina team. And that just doesn't. I've got 2 of these. I've got one listed on eBay for just over 1,000, and never had any interest in it. So
Yeah, I know Lucas actually picked up quite a few of them at once off the same guy.
I
They're
think
a
I
cool
got this from
ticket.
Lucas.
Did you?
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah,
It's a cool ticket. I just think the fact that it is a youth game, I feel like you have to draw the line somewhere.
yeah.
And I know he'd made his pro debut by then, so it's a bit of an interesting time. But it's definitely a cool ticket, especially for a Messi collector.
I think so. I mean, if you're going all in on Messi, then it's one to have. But I guess you're like, like you say, if it's just a youth game, it's probably not in his. I don't know if it counts for his career all-time stats, but this one's
Because
quite
next
cool.
thing you know, you're collecting under 10 debuts.
Yeah, well, that's what the idea is, like to try and get the earliest known ticket from that player, right? So, I mean,
well, with sports cards, it is because they've made their pro debut by then. But tickets, there is that grey area which has never really been discovered, which is the, as you say, the youth, the pre-season, the friendly, whatever you want to call it.
This is what this is what drives me crazy about that Messi Porto ticket, is because in every other sport, and I mean even football, we're looking at Ronaldo, we're looking at his pro debut, his first official game. We're looking like Michael Jordan, for example, his NBA debut.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed is worth so much more than his actual, like, he's got preseason Chicago Bulls debut.
Yeah, I know.
Which is is more rare, and it still doesn't fetch anywhere near.
It's worth far less.
And when it comes to Messi, everyone seems to think that his debut is that game against Porto. I get it's the first time he pulled on a Barcelona shirt. Great.
Yeah.
He played in pretty much a second string team. Like, if you look at the lineup, like, pretty much no first team players were playing alongside him.
Yeah. If you watch the video as well from YouTube of that game, the pro debut, not the friendly, the stadium was pretty much empty. Everyone, as you say, had a season ticket. It's a myth to find, and I don't think within the next 5 years the population will squeeze above probably 10.
Do you know what the population is for that one?
It's currently 4, so there's 2 fulls and 2
Right.
stubs. Your full
Okay.
being the only official one because there's a PSA 6 Ticketmaster version.
Yeah.
So yours is the only full, really.
And I think the Ticketmaster version, if I'm not wrong, that sold one time on Golden.
Earlier this year for $7.8K after buyer's premium.
That's pretty good. Pretty good
Seems
investment.
cheap. It seems
Yeah,
very cheap.
it does seem cheap to me.
Then that makes me think, what would you value yours? Because do you have it on eBay?
Yeah, no.
You
So
did for a
right,
while.
I get a lot of people say to me like, "What? You're never going to get this much
Yeah.
money." But of course I won't. And that, like this is the question: like, what ticket would you never sell? And that's one of them. But I'm a bit like Lucas, like that. That no ticket is ever, but I would never
Everything has a
not
price.
sell. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So I've got a mortgage. I've got 2 kids. Like, if something's going to help me have an easier life, like, I don't want to work all my life. If someone's going to offer me silly money for that ticket, I'm going to take it.
Of course.
So, and also, I spoke to a couple of guys in the time at the Discord, and we was like, no one knows about this Espanol ticket. Like, no one. It's like, why don't you list it on eBay, put a ridiculous asking price, just to sort of like,
It's just
it's
free
like a
promotion,
social,
really. Yeah, it's awareness.
it's like a social media site. It's like, this is in my collection. This is my ticket. It gets people talking about it. In terms of what I'd actually accept for it, I don't know. It'd take a pretty crazy number, I think, for me to sell it.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's got to be above 15,000 at
Yeah.
least, minimum.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I know it sounds crazy, but I probably wouldn't let it go out of my collection for any less than 6 figures.
I don't blame you at all, and I think
Yeah,
that's completely fair. And it's
yeah,
the fact that it's not like the population's 30 or 40, where you can always pick up one like in a few years. This probably
yeah,
might never surface again.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's a
So,
cool one. It's a cool one.
yeah,
But
yeah,
again, with tickets, there's that thing that one might not surface for a year or 5 years, and then before you know it, 5 just pop up because a family of 5 went to the game and kept it.
yeah. That's such a scary thing about tickets as well. Like, maybe not so much these days because it's sort of a bit more mainstream, but at the start of collecting, there was a debate about this one. Beckham pro debut.
Yep. What was it? Brighton. Yeah.
In the League Cup. And at the time, again, a couple of years in the Discord, no one had ever seen one. Everyone was questioning whether there was ever like one available. And then one popped up. I think it went on Golden and it sold for like over $10,000.
$15,000, I think it went for.
$15,000.
And it was a PSA 1 or 1.5.
Yeah, and it just. And then after that, one big sale, there was like 10, 15 more come out the woodwork.
Yeah.
So you never know, and it's like Alexander says on your last podcast, is like, if you're going to sell on Golden, 1, it's got to be a big ticket, and 2, you've got to be first to the market.
Yeah.
And I had a load of sports cards, and I traded for that ticket shortly after the Golden sale because I was like, wow, I need this ticket, and I think the trade value must have been about 9,000. So that's one of my big losses on that ticket. So I'm not selling that for a while. I've got another one just been graded by Beckett, which should be coming back soon.
On that note, then, what are your thoughts on Beckett as a grading company for tickets?
I like the slabs. I'm a bit sort of like disheartened now that Steve Lee's left Beckett. And I still under the notion, like, if you've got some cool, like some just sort of like collection pieces that you don't think are really worth like more than $200-300, then get it graded by BGS. Put whatever you want on the label.
Exactly,
but
it's cheap. It looks nice.
Yeah,
it's protected.
Looks nice. They've got a bigger flip. You can write more on it. You can tell a story. But if you want something that's an investment and that you want the top dollar for, then you're not going to beat PSA at this point.
For sure. And we haven't actually seen many Beckett sales at all. There was that one Hand of God's ticket, the BGS 4, which fetched a pretty good price. And that's the first real public sale we've seen for BGS. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that reflects on the market.
Yeah, so I sold a BGS Rudy game ticket, which is like an American football ticket, and I sold that on Boogers for $1,800 recently.
Jesus. Was it signed?
No, it wasn't signed. So
Sounds
I
like a
think
good price.
I think quite a good price. I didn't really have any real connection to it, so I was
Yeah.
happy to let it go. But yeah, no, BGS.
Do you
I
know what I
haven't
mean?
really
You can
seen.
pick up a Ronaldo Pro debut for 950.
Yeah,
So it's almost two Ronaldo Pro debuts are one of them.
I've got. I've
And that's what I mean
always.
when I say that Ronaldo debut is massively underpriced.
So this is how much I believe in the Ronaldo debut. I've got 4 of them. Yeah, they're all.
You know what?
They're all.
It's so tough to grade though. Well, not tough to grade. They're so hard to find a nice one.
The highest one I've got is a 2 mark. That
Yeah.
one. But my favourite one is my first one I picked up, which is this one. It's got quite a few folds, but the text is so bold on it.
Yeah.
But I've got 4 of them, and I think I overpaid for every single one of those because that was at the time when it was like booming, and I was like, "Oh, this is the ticket." So yeah, I've overpaid for quite a few of those, but I've had some wins too, so it probably all sort of
Yeah,
like
it's part of the journey, isn't it? You buy some,
yeah,
you lose some, you collect some, and at the end of the day, you're happy. What are
exactly.
your thoughts then? Because I picked up that invitation ticket, the PSA 3. What are your thoughts on that invitation ticket? Because
I
the
love that
ISO
ticket.
for me is
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. No, I've got one. It's similar like this. So this was not a debut, but it was Ronaldo's first senior goal in pre-season
Okay. Yeah.
against Real Betis. Is that upside down? No, it's
No,
up.
I can see it. I was
Um,
trying to see the grade.
so the grade's 1.5, but I
Yeah.
really like the eye appeal of that.
Yeah, it looks
The only thing
fantastic.
the only thing I'd say is they're easier to grade than these ones because I don't know
Mhm.
if you've ever held this piece of paper in your hand. It's
It's
literally
so
like
thin, yeah.
yeah, it's like tissue paper. So,
Yeah.
but I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Fav has got that particular
Pro Goal 1.
style. The Pro Goal One, I
Yeah.
just love it. Yeah, no, I saw that. I only saw that ticket on Golden that you mentioned after the sale, and like you
Yeah.
say, it went up. It went under the radar, so I was so surprised that no one bid on that.
Yeah, and I think it was a mix of that and obviously Messi's just won the World Cup. Everyone's
Yeah,
talking about Messi. He's gone to
yeah.
America, so all of that kind of stacks up.
Yeah, it's a great. I think it's a great ticket. I don't think you'll have any problems holding on to that personally. And there's a guy. I don't know if is it Soccer Town Cards. He's got like 4 full Ronaldo Pro debut tickets.
The fulls are impossible to find.
Yeah, that's just crazy tickets.
Has he graded them yet?
Yeah, I think they're all graded. I think
Okay.
if you go onto his Instagram, there might be a picture of like all 4 together.
Okay.
I don't know what scores. I don't know if they got very high. I think maybe the highest might have been a PSA 3, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a great ticket. I think he paid quite a lot for some of them though. I'm not sure if they'd still be worth that much today, but still a great ticket.
Thing is, Portuguese, you have to, and this is why I love tickets because each ticket is so unique. If you
Yeah,
understand, like the Porto Barcelona game was a friendly, it was the inauguration of the new stadium. People are more likely
yeah,
to collect it.
yeah,
The Ronaldo game was in Portugal. There's more Portuguese ticket collectors. They
yeah,
have a culture of keeping and collecting memorabilia, and that's why the supply is higher. The Espanyol game, you give the example of, most were season tickets. It
yeah,
was a pretty much empty stadium. All these things make such a difference, and that's why
yeah,
if you
yeah.
are investing from that perspective, you have to do your research. You have to
Oh,
understand everything about the game.
research is massive, and in a way, like new collectors now are at an advantage because they're coming in and people have already done that research for them.
Yeah, yeah,
So like, it doesn't take a lot now to discover, the Messi pro debut, the friendly debut is like a stadium opening. There's like hundreds of those tickets around. Like, I mean,
yeah,
was you there when that roll, like the toilet roll of
yeah,
Messi
yeah, yeah. I saw
come
that.
out in golden, and we was just
Yeah,
like that was the final nail in the coffin, I think, for that. But
yeah.
no, it's still great. But the research is there, and I mean, there's still. I mean, I've been collecting for a few years, and there's still a ton of tickets that I'd still love to have in my collection that just sort of haven't come around yet.
Yeah, for me, sure. And I'm always got those eBay filters set, waiting for something to one day come up.
And there's
But it
those
makes me
tickets that
also question. There's probably so many tickets that are either poorly listed in bundles that are literally sitting on eBay right now,
right
and
now,
we haven't found them.
yeah,
Right now,
this
there's
this
probably hundreds.
this kills me all the time. Just to think that there's tickets sitting on there right now that like no one knows are there, and
Yeah,
like Lucas buying bundles of them and ciphering through them all to find like the good ones. I just like, I admire him for that. It's crazy, but
there's fun in that, isn't there? That's why that's the pack opening for me. That's the only thing I can compare it to.
Yeah, I mean, so I haven't. Oh, I said being graded. So like at the time, it's the chase of it. It's like, well, when I was chasing all the Ronaldo debuts, no one had seen a Ronaldo Real Madrid debut against Shamrock Rovers, and everyone was searching for it. And I went on Instagram and I looked up the stadium, and then scrolled back to like the date of the game, found people like have taken pictures of the game, like sending out masses of emails and messages to all of these people, like, have you still got your ticket?
What's the general response on that?
Most people don't respond. Most people say, oh yeah, I was there, but I haven't got a ticket. And then one guy, he was like, yeah, I've still got my ticket. I was like, no way. He was like, yeah, and he showed me a picture of it. I was like, please, I'll give you. I think I paid £70 for it, but at the time I was willing to pay a lot more. And he sent it to me in the post in a single envelope with no backing, and it come through all folded up. And I was like,
where from?
It was from Ireland, so from wherever the game was, Shamrock. So he was a Shamrock Rovers supporter. And so he had been to all of the games, and like I say, I was the first. I think I was the first one to get that graded, and then there's quite a few popped up now.
Yeah, a few of them. Wasn't that also another debut? Was it Benzema or something debut as well?
Yeah, Benzema debut as well, I think. Yeah. So
I mean, it's a cool ticket. That's something I want to get, but I've never found one at the right price.
I really wanted to get his official debut. I think Sergio Long on tickets is the only one I know that's got it. That was a friendly, against Shamrock Rovers, pre-season friendly. But the official debut, I think, for Real Madrid was against Deportivo. I think he scored maybe a penalty on his debut and they won.
Got you.
But I think I've only seen Sergio that's got that ticket. I think I don't know if he still has it, but I've got all the other debuts in this pile. So I've got these. I've got rookie tickets from his first year of Sporting. I've got his pre-season debut. I've got a couple of I've got his Portugal debut.
That's a really cool one. I think that's the ticket that actually got me into buying other people's tickets. I think Jamie got a PSA 8 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, so there's a story behind that actually.
Because that's the ticket that got me into it, I'm pretty sure.
So I've got it in a full as well, so PSA 3, and I've got it in a stub. And then I bought another one, which is exactly the same as Jamie's, in a full, but it's got red here.
Okay. Yeah.
And the other day I looked on my PSA where it's being graded at the moment, and it's come back as not valid for emission, and that is a proof ticket.
No way.
So I spoke to Fav about it, and he says that if you translate the text that's down here, it basically says like box number, but then there's no number, so they're counting it as a proof.
That's so frustrating because it's probably just a VIP ticket.
Yeah, and that's what Jamie's is. So I said, what about Jamie's to Fav? And he's like, oh yeah, we're probably going to have to update the registry for that and change it to a proof.
Stitch him right up.
So I don't know if he knows that or not, but I'm still not convinced. I think, like you say, it could just be like a VIP ticket. I'm not convinced it's a proof. So, but I don't know where to start in terms of trying to challenge that.
Well, I'm sure BGS might be a bit more lenient because it's obviously an authentic ticket. It's just they can't prove. Yeah, it's a proof at the end of the day.
Well, I messaged Lucas and I was like, what do you think? And he was like, yeah, it's probably a proof. So I don't think BGS are going to grade it as anything else either. Until I get, but I can, there's people, I mean, I think with the VIP Barcelona Messi first goal, that was, no one wanted to grade that. And I think Anubis reached out to the actual club who then confirmed that it was from that season and from that game. Yeah, so.
And it has a seat number though, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it does have seat numbers, but it doesn't have a date.
No date. Yeah.
No date. But if you can work it out that it is from that game, because I can't remember, someone told me the math that the team that they played were only in.
They got promoted the season before, didn't they?
Yeah, they were only in their 2 seasons. And then there's another VIP ticket against another team that were only 1 season, and it matches the same layout, and it was that season. So
got you. No, it's a cool ticket. It's a cool ticket. We've talked a lot about football. What other avenues within ticket collecting have you discovered and explored? I know you've got the Concord ticket.
I love everything, sort of like anything, any major event from, I don't know, the 20th century,
Yeah.
pop culture. So I had a ticket to the Apollo 11 launch.
Yeah.
I sold that on Golden. I picked that up for $400 and I sold it for just over 5,000.
Wow.
I think you can pick them up for about 1,000 now.
Got you.
The big one I had is JFK. I think it was his 55th birthday party in New
The
York.
Marilyn Monroe one.
Marilyn Monroe
Yeah.
sings "Happy Birthday." Yeah, so I was scrolling through eBay in the US and I saw it, and it was in a frame, full ticket in a frame. A
Mhm.
bookstore was selling it, and I didn't know if it was legit or not. And I said, "Can you please take out the frame and send me a picture of the back?" And they're like, "No, we
Yeah.
can't do that. We're not taking out the frame." So I took a complete punt on it and I bought it. Shipped it over, took it out of the frame. I was like, it looked like it's got the correct writing on the back. It looks
Yeah.
legit. Got it graded with PSA. I think I paid maybe $600-700 for that one.
Worth a punt at that price.
And I shared it on my Instagram. And do you know Darren Ravel?
Yeah.
Darren Rovel? I don't know how you
Yeah.
pronounce it. I think it's Ravel. He contacted me and he was like, I've got one, but I need to have yours. Like it's high graded. It's a full.
Yeah.
So we went back and forth. I said, "Here's my number." And he was like, "No." And then I left it a bit, and then he come back, and he was like, "We settled on $4,000.
Jesus.
So I was happy. I was happy with the profit.
Wasn't there like a 95k sale for that?
It was that ticket.
Was it?
He sold it on Sotheby's a year later for over $90,000. It was
Jesus.
gut wrenching.
Well, that's why he wanted yours.
Oh yeah, exactly. And yeah, I don't know.
Knowing this guy was probably one of his friends anyway or something.
Exactly, and I can't be disappointed because even if I still had that ticket today, there's no way I'd get it through Sotheby's and get 90 grand for it. Like,
No, exactly.
That just kind of happens to those sort of people. Like money attracts money, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was a big one. I've got obviously the Concorde ticket. I just try to sort of like sometimes lay in bed and think like what have been the big events in the world over the last like 100 years, and like is it ticketed?
Yeah.
Can I get a ticket for it? And it's like I've got a pass that's being graded by PSA at the moment, which is a presidential pass for when Donald Trump won the presidency.
Yeah, cool.
So it's actually like at that moment of the election where he won it, which I think will be quite a good ticket in the future because that
Especially
was that
if he comes into presidency again.
Yeah, and it was just an event that like it just shocked the world. Like whether you hate him or love him, like it's an iconic like moment in history.
I remember being sat on the sofa all day and night watching that.
Yeah,
everyone remembers where they were when that happened.
Yeah, and
definitely
then
a big comment.
I've got a Queen's coronation ticket.
Yeah, they weren't that rare though, were they? So they were very common, aren't they? They're everywhere.
You have to pick up.
They have it like Hyde Park. They had it outside Parliament.
Yeah,
and they were all ticketed.
The ticket that I've got is in Westminster Abbey for a seat in Westminster Abbey in front of where the actual Queen was being coronated.
Yeah, that's the winner.
So that's what I mean. Like you have to do your research and be specific about what you're buying, because like just a ticket along Pall Mall or Hyde Park or whatever, it's not that rare, and it doesn't really relate too much to the actual coronation.
And also you got to think back to like people would have kept these tickets. It wasn't a random night in Barcelona. It's a big moment in history.
And I saw on Boogers, like when she died, there was some people listing them for like $2-3 grand, and people like taking them, snapping them up, and I was just like, "Oh, you're going to regret that." Like, come a few years time, and when these are like tickets. Yeah, they were like tickets to like on Oxford Street and stuff like this. And I was like, yeah, but anything cool, mate. Honestly, I just like love tickets and what they represent, and yeah, I don't know, just anything I can wrap my head of.
Yeah.
But
I've asked this question to everyone I've done now, and I think it's only fair to ask you as well. What are the top 3 tickets you'd never sell?
Right, so as I say, there's nothing I'll never sell, but my
for
top
the right
3 tickets. For the right price. Top 3 tickets. Number 1, Messi Pro debut against Espanyol. Has to be.
Yeah.
Number 2 would be Messi first pro goal.
Yeah.
think, and then number
So long
3,
as it comes back a good grade.
yes, number 3. So if PSA hadn't already turned around and told me that they couldn't grade this ticket, it would be my top 3 ticket, and that was a ticket to Motown 25, where Michael Jackson performed the moonwalk for the first time.
That's a sick one.
It
Well,
was,
so PSA declined it?
Yeah, I've been hunting this ticket for ages. I found it, I sent it in, and they said no. Like, they're basically, I had a call from Steve Stint, I think, who works at PSA. Really nice guy, actually. And he was like, "Here's why we couldn't grade it," and it was the seat numbers. If they look at the seat plan, apparently it hasn't changed at all. There's no those seat numbers. There's no seat numbers. The perforations on the ticket aren't in the right place.
Yeah.
And then going back to my history with Darren Ravel, he's got the same ticket, the same condition, graded by PSA. So I was like, hang on, what about this? This is graded, and you're telling me this one's not real. And then I looked up, just out of curiosity, I looked up his PSA cert number the other day, and it's been deactivated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
another stitch up from you.
that was strike 3. The first strike I had with Darren Ravel is when I was first collecting tickets, I bought a Maradona Hand of God full ticket.
Let me guess, was it red?
Yeah. At the time, didn't have a clue. Got it graded. PSA graded it.
Well, it's not an unauthentic ticket, is it? It's just if I'm not mistaken, it's a souvenir ticket.
Yeah. Well, whether it is that or not, I don't know. But it's not like an actual.
It's not the official ticket, yeah.
So I sold it on eBay. The purchase details come through. Who was it? Darren Ravel. He bought the ticket. I think I sold it for roughly $3,000. Sent it over to him, and he shared it on his Instagram stories. And then our Discord was going crazy. It was like Lucas, other people going, "This ticket's not real. It's a fake. I'm going to contact him. I'm going to contact him." I was sitting there thinking, "Oh, I'm like, what? Honestly, I didn't even know at the time, and now I'm like, oh, this ticket's fake." So after a couple of days, he reached out to me and was like, "I've been told this is not real, and what are we going to do about it?" And I said, "Look, here's your money back." And he's like, "Do you want the ticket back?" I was like, "No, destroy it. It means nothing to me." And
how did you find that? What's the story behind that?
It was just an eBay purchase. It was Hand of God ticket. I thought, "Oh, cool, full ticket." Bought it. And to be fair to Darren, he didn't need to, but he's got some contacts at PSA, and he messaged him and he was like, "What can you do for Steve?" And they gave me like a couple $100 credit on my next sub and stuff.
That's nice.
Which they didn't have to do, and he didn't have to do. So
when you mentioned that Steve called you, it makes you appreciate the grading fee, because compared to a Pokemon card, which is pretty standard as you go, a ticket takes a lot more research. You've got to go into preparations. I don't know. Is there any chips in it, seat numbers, etc., etc. So value for money, it's not too bad.
Yeah, and that Hand of God ticket is one that still eludes me to this day. Like I've bid on a couple. I still haven't got one. I think there was one on Sale Room that I got outbid on.
You're the fucker you're the guy that outbid me.
No, I think I bid. So they have been consistently being listed on Sale Room full.
So what price?
I bid up to 900, I think, and it went for just over 1,000.
Let me get it out now. Was it the full?
There was a full, but then a couple of months earlier there was a full, and then a couple of months earlier to that there was a full. There's been 4 or 5 full tickets been sold on Sale Room.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I've got 3. I've got the BGS 6. I've got that battered one that came up on eBay for like 250 quid. Yeah. I'm not sure if you remember that one, and then the full for 1,000.
Oh yeah, maybe you might have outbid me on that one then.
There was loads of other fulls listed on that same day, and I was just picking them all up for like 30, 40 quid.
Yeah.
Hoping that I'd get lucky on the Hand of God.
Yeah.
It's a cool ticket. I think it's probably the biggest football game in history.
Yeah, iconic.
In my opinion.
Ticket. Yeah, iconic. It should be up there in the top 5. I think I don't know if it was before you joined Discord, we actually did like a collective top 50 tickets, I think.
I do remember Michael, Vintage Tickets, telling me about it, but I wasn't in the Discord at the time.
Yeah, you have to dig it out, and I'm pretty sure Hand of God was like number 1 or 2 behind. Messi Pro debut was in the top 3, I think. So was Hand of God. But it's quite interesting to see what people value, like
The
how
general
they value
consensus,
tickets.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I
It'll
mean,
also be interesting to see how that changes as new collectors join, and
yeah,
whether it aligns with that the same, or whether people's perspective changes.
yeah. But Maradona always seems to elude me. I've got a ticket to his famous warm up where he does live his life, and I got outbid once in Golden on a Argentina debut. That was quite close, but that
Which one was
ticket,
that?
it didn't. So there was one that went for like 30 grand, and then
Yeah.
a few months later, one popped up again, and it went for about $3,500.
Was that the altered one?
Yeah, it might have been. No, sorry, no, that popped up later. It wasn't the altered one. I'll have to find it because when I type it into Golden, it only brings up that 30K sale.
Yeah.
I'll have to try and
Maybe
find it.
130 pointer.
Yeah, I'll have to find it after the call and send it to you. But it was close. I stayed up and was in extended bidding, and it was like I was going, then they were going, but he would like leave it like you get half an hour in
So
extended bidding.
frustrating.
He would leave it 29 minutes, and we're talking like 3-4 o'clock in the
3
morning. It's
a.m.
like, right, I'm going to bid one more time, and I'm going to go to sleep. And if I win it, I win it. And then I woke up and I'd lost it from the next bid, so I was a bit gutted about that. So, but that's
that
one
is such a rare ticket, and that's one of the tickets that won't show up again for a few years.
No, I would love to have that ticket, and I know Fav wants that ticket as well. He'd love to have that ticket.
It's a lovely pair, isn't it? Because Messi made his debut against Hungary as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just every now and again, I try and Google it. I try and have a little look when in my free time, and just.
What are you willing to pay on something like that?
I think I'd go up to maybe £3,000 on that. Probably be my limit.
In a good condition.
In a good condition. I would like it in the blue. There's different colour variants.
Yes, there's the purple and the blue one.
Yeah, I think the purple one was the one I bid on Golden, but the blue is just you got to have it in the kit colour, right?
It makes sense, doesn't it?
It makes sense, yeah. So that is one that, one day. And I still haven't actually even got a Pele World Cup debut. I haven't got any Pele tickets. So,
really?
Yeah, it's mainly
I'm hunting
Messi.
one down. I think I've just picked one up actually. $3,500 for a 1.5, which I don't think's that bad.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's a nice pickup.
Earlier we talked about safe investments and maybe more Messi tickets coming up in the future. I doubt that will be the case. Well, sorry, that will definitely be the case with the Pele World Cup debut. But I don't know how much that will affect the price. I just think that's what it is now. People understand the population will go up, and it's just
there's one of those tickets that sort of. There were so many about a year ago being listed. There was probably one every month at an auction.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of drove the price right down to where they're sort of like we're going for about 2,000. And now there's been a gap where nothing's really been listed. Like people have been holding them, and so that price has now gone back up. And I think it's
6.3 was the last sale for that PSA.
Yeah, it's starting to incline a bit, and so I wouldn't be surprised if that price goes up a bit more now. But I might have missed the boat. It's probably already hit bottom a year or two ago, and I probably missed the boat on picking one up. So. It is a cool ticket. That full PSA 6 that someone shared.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Unbelievable. Oh, it was wow.
Not only is it a full, but it's also in mint condition.
It's so clean. I would be disappointed that was a PSA 6 and not like an 8 or a 9. That was so clean. But I think if that went to auction,
30?
Easy.
Yeah.
You think that back in the day that was
probably
a
you're right, way more than 30.
I would be inclined to say it's pushing 6 figures because there was a sale $50,000 I think for a PSE World Cup debut.
I think 42,000 was the highest it got to.
42.
Yeah.
I don't know what grade that was, but it was a stub, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
And not a full. So if it gets anywhere sort of like back to that level again, it'll smash barriers. But
what are your thoughts on that? Will it ever return to what it was?
Nah, I think.
You don't think ever?
No, I don't think so. I think there'll always be a market for the big tickets. So like that ticket, there'll be a few, maybe not many soccer tickets, maybe 4 or 5. But the smaller tickets, I don't know if it like I want to speak to Lucas and other guys, and everyone's sort of like having a bit of trouble shifting sort of like the smaller, lesser known soccer tickets at the moment. which I think are good for like entry points for new collectors and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
People to build out their whatever they're focused on collecting. But we'll never see the heights of those tickets that we saw in 2020 and 2021. We'll never see that again, I don't think.
You don't think in 30 years' time?
Possibly.
Populations will be through the roof by then, though. So
yeah, and I suppose you've got inflation in 30 years. Probably a loaf of bread will cost you like £10,000. It's 30
exactly.
years.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
I've got some questions for you then. Quick fire questions, and we'll go through some quick stories. What is your best find? So what's one ticket you've paid potentially a really cheap price for, or a really interesting find, and then it's ended up being worth quite a lot?
Quite a few. So getting that JFK ticket was probably, if you think about in terms of where that's ended now, that was probably my best find. The Espanol one, even though I probably didn't find it, it got listed, was probably second best. I've had a few. I had a Mbappe Pro debut that I picked up for about €3, and I sold that for about 3,000.
That's not bad.
So that's not a bad one.
How'd you find that? eBay.
I'll tell you one trick that people don't. I don't know if I should say this actually.
Keep it to yourself.
No, I'll share it.
Tell me, and then if you don't want it, I can crop out later.
All right. So one trick that I've found that I know some people do, but if you see a ticket and it's sold and you're like, damn, I've missed out on that ticket, message the seller and say, have you got any more of these? Don't snipe it, because that's not nice.
Of course not.
But message a seller and be like, have you got any more of these? And you'd be surprised how many times they come back to me and say, yeah, I've got one more. I've got another one. Yeah. And that Mbappe ticket was exactly one of those. I think they'd sold one. A guy on the Discord shared it straight away. He was like, I picked up this Mbappe ticket. I found the seller. I messaged him. He had one more. And so I got it as well. And I've had that success with other tickets as well. And I actually
completely. I've had the same story many a time as well.
Yeah. And I had that success with the Motown ticket that actually turned out to be fake. So in that case, it comes to bite me in the ass.
Well, then, now it makes a bit more sense as well, doesn't it? Why it might be fake if you have multiple.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I think the first ticket that was sold ended up with Darren Ravel. So that would explain why he's fake as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, no, they're probably a few of my good pickups. And the Apollo 11 ticket, I made a good profit on that. And then, I know not a ticket, but I picked up a... I don't know if you've seen this, like a Matt Groening Simpsons sketch card.
I've seen this, yeah.
You've seen it, and I picked it. There was a guy in the UK that had it, and it was a US competition. So pretty much all of the cards are located in the US. I don't know how this guy got it. I think he was a Simpsons mega fan. He got his mate in the US to apply for the competition. He got the ticket, the card, and he sold it to me for £800. And I sold it to this. It was like a startup auction site that were trying to sell NFTs.
Sorry, we're going to have to go again the past 5 seconds.
Yeah, the past 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So I picked up the sketch card from this guy in the UK for £800. And shared it on my Instagram, and I got contacted by this auction site in the US that were trying to sell. They're trying to get collectibles to sell, but they were also creating NFTs for it as well. Oh, I've lost your audio. Okay, no worries, mate. Probably the wind, is it? Wait, let me just... Is that... All right, yeah, so...
Yeah, all good.
So I put it on my Instagram, and I got contacted by this auction site that were trying to create NFTs for collectibles.
Okay.
But they would actually sell the physical asset. So basically, if you bought, like, say you bought a Ronaldo
fractionalization
ticket,
sort of thing.
Not a fraction site, no. So you would buy the ticket, and they would keep it in a vault, but they would send you an NFT of this ticket, and you could redeem it at any point, and you could either trade it, give it to someone else, or redeem it and then take your physical asset out of the vault.
Yeah, got you.
And they said, "What would you take for this ticket at auction that would make you sell it?" And I said $9,000, and they were like, "Okay." So they took it and said, if we don't receive $9,000 at auction, we'll give you the $9,000. I was like, okay. So I sent it to them, and I think at auction it took like $7,000.
Okay.
And they were like, we're going to honor it. So they sent me the $9,000 for it.
Jesus.
So that was a big profit. But now I'm gutted I sold that, because that is such a great card.
How much do you think that's worth now? Is it worth less or not?
Probably about the same now. I think there was a couple of PSA 10s that sold on Heritage, and I think they went for about $16,000.
Okay.
So if you think comparable to a 9, maybe it might be worth a little bit less now. But yeah, cool story though.
Very interesting story. Just for the new collectors out there, what are like some mistakes you've made over the years that you can kind of pass on some wisdom?
Pass on some wisdom. Don't succumb to FOMO.
Okay.
That is a big one. I mean, yeah, I don't know if you've ever had it. Someone shared a ticket and you're like, man, that's so cool. And then like you have to have it, and you find one and there's only one, and the guy wants a ridiculous amount for it, but you pay it because it's FOMO. And it's like, and as Lucas said on your pod before, he's like, don't succumb to FOMO. Don't, there's always, apart from the Espanol, 9 times out of 10, that ticket will come around again.
Yeah.
And you'll get a better chance to pick it up. So
that's that. One. And I'm on the other side of the fence about that. I think now, 4 or 5 years in, the market has established itself now that if something does show up, and it hasn't before, the chances are there's not going to be hundreds more show up. Yes, it's a possibility, but there's so many times that I've seen stuff like the F1 first Grand Prix in the UK. There was one and I didn't pick it up for like an idiot for 40 quid or whatever. And
really?
In hindsight, it's like £1,000 or something. So I'm on the other side of the fence of that. It's like, just pick it up. But you have to do your research. You have to understand the market.
And it depends how much you're willing to pay, I guess, or how much the ticket is.
Of course, 40 quid is nothing to a...
Yeah, exactly. If we're talking like 2-3 grand, you need to think about it a bit more. I think my worst purchase was I bought from Lucas, actually. I bought a Cruyff Netherlands debut ticket from him.
Yeah.
And I paid €3,000, I think, for it. And then I think after that moment, like, tickets sort of just fell off a cliff.
Bad time.
I don't know how much that ticket would be worth today. It was in pretty horrible condition as well. But I ended up trading it with Fav for a Haaland Champions League debut. You know, he's famous hat trick.
I think it's a great ticket.
That was a 4, but I don't know how much this is worth to the day. So that would tell me how much I've lost on that particular. Maybe what, 500 now? Maybe.
I wouldn't want to say a figure. I have no idea. I think it's a great ticket regardless.
Yeah.
Haaland broke Champions League records already, so that has to have a lot of value, like, intrinsically.
I'll show you a cool ticket. So, this ticket, I don't know. There was a guy in the Discord called Tugbert, and he just flipped tickets. Like, he was like Marmite. You hate him or you love him. And he flipped tickets, and he graded this ticket, and I was like, that's cool, I want it. So I bought it off him, and then a couple of days later, PSA shared it on their social media.
Yeah.
So it's the Step Brothers world premiere ticket.
Pretty cool. What's the pop on something like that?
I've seen a couple of them around, probably like 4 or 5.
Pretty impressive.
And it's probably not worth that much. I'd say probably a few $100. But me and Fav did the London Card Show a couple of years back, and we put out all of our tickets, and it was sort of like more like, not much was for sale, but sort of a more show and tell. Yeah. And this ticket, along with he had like a Nintendo 64 Mario Kart opening preview ticket.
I've seen this.
And it had a cool picture of Mario on it, and those 2 tickets actually stopped people at the tables, like got them over. Like,
definitely, it's an eye catcher.
So you got to think as well. I think eye appeal is a big factor in tickets.
It lacks it so much. It really
It
does.
does. It does. I mean, when you're talking some of these Ticketmaster tickets, which is just writing, um, I mean, that's what sort of like you want to transition people from cards to tickets. That sort of helps when there's a bit of eye appeal on a
Definitely.
ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. And there
Yeah,
are a lot of the old Wimbledon tickets, even the newer Wimbledon tickets, have really cool
yeah,
designs.
yeah. So that was one of my latest pickups. Actually, I think I saw you got it too. As the Federer first
Yeah.
Grand Slam.
Do you want to know an
So that's
interesting story? You mentioned actually that, I've been looking for this for ages, and so had I. So I messaged the person saying, do you have another one for sale? And they
and they
didn't.
did.
No, they
Oh, they
didn't.
didn't.
No.
Yeah.
It's a
Um,
beautiful ticket.
yeah, and that is clean condition. So I can't wait to see what that comes
Because I
back at.
actually remember seeing that get listed, and I didn't realise what it was at the time, even though I'd been looking for one. And I
But
just
that was
scrolled, because it was an auction, wasn't it?
yeah, and it was bizarre. So I saw it got listed. You know how you have eBay Save Search. I've had this Save Search for like 3 years, and then it
Yeah.
like pinged one day, and I was like, oh. I looked at it. It was at auction, and I was like, oh, this is going to go way above what I'm willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
And 4 or 5 days went by, and there was not one bid on it. And I messaged the seller after I think maybe 2 or 3 days, and I said, "Would you take £100 for it now and end the listing?" No,
Yeah.
no, we're gonna see. I'm gonna see how it goes. 2 or 3 more days went past, not another
Yeah.
bid, and then they got back in contact with me and said, "I'll take the £100 now." And I was like, "Deal."
Yeah.
And they ended the listing and sent it to me.
How much would you value that? Because I've got a price in mind for mine. No, I
That's
probably wouldn't sell it for a very long time.
that's such a hard one because I
They
don't
don't show off.
know. I don't know what how many tennis fans there are, what people would be willing to pay for it, but I probably wouldn't let that go for any less than a couple of grand. I don't think.
I think it's in the thousands at least, I think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Because the tennis tickets are so difficult to find because it is such an affluent sport. People have
Yeah,
so much money. They bin it, or they wouldn't be willing to sell it, or you can't find them online. So it's one of
yeah.
those that they are just so rare.
I've seen people as well. Like I think someone shared one once. It was like, "Oh, I've got Federer's first Grand Slam," but it was like a Saturday ticket, and I was like, "Oh, dude, that's the women's final, not the men's final." And
Yeah,
then there was like a court one ticket. And I was like, "Oh, dude, that's not centre court, so it's not the final,
yeah,
the men's."
exactly. And then there's
So
like what's the area around it called? The grounds pass.
oh yeah, the grounds
Yeah,
pass. Yeah, so
there's exactly. It's always tough to find centre
that's
court on that day,
it's
on
a great
finals
ticket.
day.
Yeah, that's a great ticket. I bought like
It's a
talking about
10 grand
recent.
ticket just to go and watch to get into the stadium. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Which has to have some influence on the value of the ticket itself.
And I think Roger Federer, like everyone loves Roger Federer, right? And he's probably
He's
like
the most loved tennis player, for sure.
he's like the Tiger Woods of golf, right?
Yeah.
He's the first man to come along and sort of like smash all the records like he did, and yeah, he's just so likable. So yeah, I
I've
see
been
that ticket.
trying to get a Djokovic forever, but
So,
it's impossible to find.
what was his first Grand Slam? Was that
I
Wimbledon as
think it
well?
was the Australian Open, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
really?
2010, 11, something like that.
I think the trifecta, if you could get Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer first Grand Slams, that would
Yeah,
be a pretty cool set, wouldn't it?
yeah. And then there's obviously Alcaraz, which is now new to the scene, which is a pretty,
Alcaraz,
yeah,
yeah,
he's a big name.
There's so many cool sets that could like be done and built.
Those three for sure. And maybe Andy Murray might squeeze in if he's lucky, but those three
Yeah,
for sure are the most classy, well respected beginning of really the most talented tennis players in the world. They've really brought eyes to the sport.
and a Serena Williams would be quite cool as well. I
Yeah.
think.
Have you ever seen one of them?
Wouldn't even know what it is. I haven't even. That might be one to go look for after the call.
In bed, just scrolling on eBay.
Yeah, just yeah. No, I haven't seen that, so might have to put that on my save searches. But there's
On
so
that
many cool
topic,
avenues.
yeah.
Yeah,
How often are you searching for tickets? Is it a daily thing? Is it lunch breaks, or have you passed that addiction yet?
no, not lunch breaks. I'm way too busy for that. But and I've got kids that I have to put to bed. But um, it sort of goes through peaks and troughs. Like
Hmm.
I'll sometimes, and another thing I'd say to new collectors is don't like it's a tough hobby to be in. because you do get setbacks. Like, I mean, you get tickets that you pay for that turn out to be fake, or you get tickets that you pay for that turn out to be not as rare as you thought. And it's how you take these setbacks and carry on going. And I think a few times, like after the Darren Ravel Hand of God situation, and then the Motown ticket the other week, I was just like, why do I do this? Like, I just want to stop. Like, but
Yeah.
then and then I'm like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. That's it. I'm not wasting my money. And then someone shares like a really cool ticket on Discord, or I'll watch like a podcast. I'm like, and it gets me fired up again. And then I'll be sitting there all weekend looking for tickets. And
yeah, it's definitely a buzz. It's definitely I've collected everything, much like you. I've seen over the time graded cards you've done, graded
yeah,
games,
yeah.
Pokemon. I've done the same, and tickets are something that just fascinates me so much.
It's
They're
so
ugly,
cool.
but they're beautiful.
But it's just the chase as well, isn't it? Like, you don't get that with Pokemon cards or
Everything's been seen. There's the occasional
yeah.
trophy card which you don't even think about.
The only way I can sort of compare it is sort of like to, I don't do box breaks, but like a box break, and you pull. It's like a lottery, isn't it? You pull it
Yeah,
and it gives you that buzz, and it keeps you coming back for more. And the same thing happens when you like randomly message a seller that's got a ticket unrelated to the one you search for, and you say, "Have you got this ticket?" And they're like, "Yes, I have." And you get that buzz, and you're like,
yeah.
yeah. So
And then it comes through the door and it's straight back in the
I
binder, and you're back on eBay.
this is the thing. Like, I mean, I put my tickets away and I never get them out, and it's just sort of like, yeah, got that one. Like, on to the next now. And just building up storage and just, yeah. I mean, I know like Stu Iconic Tickets. He's got a ton of tickets. He's I think he's got a problem. It was just like messaging him the other day, and I was like, "How many tickets have you got?" Like, he just seems to have so many. He must be sitting on eBay buying tickets all the time.
Yeah.
But he's got a hell of a collection. Especially, I haven't talking about autographs on tickets. I'm sort of,
Mhm.
I share the same sort of opinion as you. Like, it doesn't really bother me too much. I think it's cool. Like, it connects the person to that moment, but
Yeah.
I haven't got the motivation to sit there sending out through the mail
Yeah.
requests.
Neither. I've never done it.
Nah, I just
There is
couldn't.
one exception though. If I had the Messi debut like you, I would have had to get it great. I would have had to get it autographed.
Oh, I mean, I'd love to, but I actually got contacted by someone on Discord a long time ago, and he had a connection to Messi,
Okay.
and he contacted me, and he got a couple of the Porto tickets signed by him, and he contacted me and he said, "I will get your pro debut ticket signed for you, but I
Yeah.
want 50% cut of the ticket." Yeah, and I was like, I can't do it. I
No
can't
way.
give it. There might be another opportunity. You never know. You might, a book signing one day that I can queue up overnight for and get him to
Well, yeah,
sign
you
my
got to
ticket.
think that he's going to be, hope to God, here for a very long time. So,
Yeah, and at the time, like him
and he's
signing
hit
the
his prime
tickets,
now. It's not going to be easy now.
exactly. And at the time he was getting these tickets signed, it was like it had never been done before. So it was like, wow, this is crazy. But now you actually see his autograph on quite a few tickets. We had that golden auction where there was just a load of Messi and Ronaldo autographs and like
That
random.
ruined autographs for me even more. That was
Oh,
the nail in the
yeah,
coffin for me. They were
yeah,
getting random FA Cup games signed by Ronaldo. Like,
yeah.
what are you doing?
There was a game I think where he was like just on the bench and never played like in the
Yeah,
actual match. It was just
it
bizarre,
was a lazy
bizarre.
attempt, really.
Yeah, really lazy. Yeah, yeah,
But that's how it goes. I'm
yeah,
glad it was that way. To be honest with you, I'd rather it that than all the top tickets graded.
yeah,
And the truth
100%.
is, they probably found difficulty getting the hands on the top tickets.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think like there was people on the Discord going, "I'm selling a lot of Messi tickets at the moment, a lot of Ronaldo tickets, like a lot of random tickets." And I think there was one guy just buying up all these random tickets that just that had any sort of connection to Ronaldo or Messi.
Yeah,
And he must have just got them bulk signed. There must be more out there. I'm pretty
for
sure
sure.
there's a ton more
But
out
there
there.
was like a
Yeah,
week where Messi Porto was selling like every single day for like
yeah,
top prices. So
yeah,
those are probably the ones that are getting signed, and
yeah,
those will soon
definitely.
emerge without a doubt.
Yeah, I think there is a signed Messi Porto. I think there's a guy on Instagram called Mark Mader.
Does he also have the
And
Argentina debut signed?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
they're both signed and listed on eBay for like $160,000 or something like
yeah,
that. And he's like a big time collector in terms of some of the tickets he's got. Is not like soccer, but American tickets. Like you're talking Michael Jordan debut and all these other guys. Like just he's got an amazing collection. But he must have paid through the roof for those tickets. I
can imagine. Listen, Steve, we could talk for hours. Maybe we'll have to do a part 2 on some other avenues in ticket collecting, and maybe an update in a few months down the line.
Yeah, it's getting late, so probably
appreciate that.
Get some dinner.
Well, it's good to speak. Thank you so much for those stories. Do you want to give everyone your Instagram and your Discord, and they can get to follow you and stuff? If they don't
now?
already. Yeah, go on.
So Shellbines _tickets on Instagram, and I don't know. I think I'm exactly the same name on Discord.
Lovely.
So yeah, give me a shout out if you want to chat anything. I'm happy to help, like new ticket collectors, and discuss any collections and stuff. But nice talking to you, Taylor. Anyway, it was
amazing, Steve. Appreciate that.
Good chat. All right, thanks, mate.
Take care.
See you later.